Good evening and welcome back to the podcast. Today should be a cracking show. We look towards the big one, the biggest game on the English Premier League calendar. Some even call it a derby. It's Liverpool, it's Manchester United, blockbuster, box office, all of the best adjectives to describe this one. It's really going to be a banger. Joined by my colleagues as usual, Manchester United coming up against a magnificent Liverpool side, probably one of the best Liverpool sides we've seen in the last 30 years. And a few Liverpool fans, well, actually, I find it hard to believe if Liverpool fans would disagree with that because they haven't won the Premier League in God knows how long. So, gentlemen, this is a big one. How are you feeling about this game in terms of confidence?
Yeah, in terms of confidence, no confidence at all. But I'm up for it. I'm really up for it. This for me, this is the biggest game in football. This is the game I always look forward to, no matter what happens. And I want United to fight. I want them. My heart is saying we can pull something out of our ass here, but my head is like, yeah, no chance. But we have to fight. Show me something. Show me that this is a derby and everything just goes out the door.
Yeah. Like, I'm super excited. I can't contain myself. It's one of those games I know Mark's going to disagree with this, but it's one of those games where you just feel like form goes out the window and like just put all the cards out and just get the job done. So I'm super excited for this game. Confidence-wise, I'm not very confident, but I'm going to follow my heart and say maybe we can do something here.
Yeah, look, I think being pragmatic goes out the window in games like this because teams tend to show up in games like this. It's a lot bigger than the results. It's a lot bigger than the league table. It's about the heart. It's about the passion. It's about the badge. And I think I agree with Shawnee 100%. We need to see Manchester United go out there and give a fight. It has to be one of those games. And also, I would add that to anyone who's in doubt about Manchester United's capability of doing something in this game, we're the only team that's taken points of Liverpool. Okay, it was a draw, but we're the only team that slowed. It was a draw. I agree, it was a draw, but we're the only team that's taken points of.
Like I've been saying, if there is any team that can beat this Liverpool side in this league, it's Man United. Like we are the only team I feel that can knock them off this freaking run.
Without getting it's true. Yeah, without getting too overconfident, I think we're just a bogey in Liverpool's closet. And even if they do beat us, I don't know if it will be convincingly. But before we get into, our predictions and all that sort of thing, I want to bring your attention to something. What do you guys feel about Harry Maguire being selected as captain? Slabhead is now officially the captain of Manchester United.
50-50. All the best to Ashley Young, by the way. But yeah, I am 50-50 because, I feel like he is the leader. But I feel like I don't know if, I want to say it's a bit too early, but like, if he's a leader, if he's going to be a leader in a few years' time, or even at the end of the season, he should be ready now. But, again, I feel like the whole thing with De Gea is also a bit wrong because, I believe what's coming out of the club is that they don't want to give him the captaincy also because when he was given the captaincy and he came out and said it wasn't good enough and he, exposed and said things that the board and managers and things didn't like, he just pretty much got stripped of that captaincy. So it's a bit wrong of that. But, I'm pretty much happy with Slabhead being a captain for now. But I think it does show also a problem how there's a lack of leadership in this team.
Yeah, true. To start, I'd like to thank Ashley Young for being a dedicated servant, always play for the badge, always hardworking. So thank you to him. In terms of Maguire being captain...
I'm just joking.
True. No, that's true. That's true. In terms of Maguire being captain, I don't think he's an amazing leader, but I feel like we don't have much of a choice. There's not many options. I feel like if we were to pick the best leader in that squad, it'd be Pogba, in my opinion. But he's so injury prone that you can't really make him captain. But yeah, he's the best of the bunch, and we'll back him. We'll back him.
Some interesting points made there. I'll start with Shawnee. What I thought of what Shawnee said. I agree with everything. I think that this is really symbolic of where we are as a club. I think Harry Maguire being the captain of this Manchester United side, for me, as a person who's joined in, what is it, like 7 months, less than 7 months now, he's been at the club. It shows how far we've fallen as a club. Even like how far our starting XI has fallen, that there aren't that many experienced players left in this team that have the leadership qualities to keep the ship afloat. And then with regards to what Rita said, I think I don't know. I can see a debate being made for Paul Pogba being a better captain, but I don't really know if Paul Pogba's the guy at the moment. Not just because he's injury prone or anything like that. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like Maguire has it. You know, he fits the mold of a captain. I don't think he's vocal, and I don't think he can get you up for a game, and that's where Pogba comes in. But Pogba doesn't need an armband for that. I think Maguire he leads with stature, and he leads by example on the field. And I think the man wearing the armband has to do that. And around him, you need players like Pogba who will lift the dressing room up. I think Pogba's a very fiery character. I think he is a good leader. But I want people to realize that leadership is not about the armband. It's about how you carry yourself. I think the armband really is it's like an ambassador's medal. That's what it is to me. Like, and I think that's why Harry Maguire is the perfect fit for me, because I look at anyone in that team, it just looks good in him as well. You know, I don't mean to sound romantic or anything like that, but it just looks good. I know that's a childish thing to say, but it just looks nice on him. So
it does suit him. I'm hoping that it being official, like, brings his form back, because I feel like when he got it sometimes, he probably felt like he was being tested or put on the spots, and it did put a lot of pressure on him. So I feel like this can take off a load off him. Ironic as that is, I feel like this can take a load off him, and maybe he'll play better.
I think it'll probably maybe boost his confidence as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It shows that the club are definitely behind him as a captain, regardless of the circumstances. The point is he's captain. He's been elected as captain. So, you know, that must be a confidence booster. So with regards to De Gea getting the captain stripped off of him, now, I don't agree with the manner in which the captain was stripped off of him, but I also don't really agree with him being captain in the first place. And I don't know what you guys think of this, but in my opinion, De Gea doesn't strike me as a leader. Yeah, he's been at the club for a long time, but like, I haven't seen any leadership qualities.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know, for me, sorry to cut you off, but for me, you know, in the last season, I thought he was a leader. You know, you always showed signs of passion, anger, you know, emotion, a lot of emotion as well. And it looked like he was always commanding that box. And then I don't know what happened. Like, I think, you know, maybe it's like after he got stripped of the captaincy, his head started to drop and his confidence went low, and he hasn't been in the same form ever since. So I don't know. Prior to that, I thought he was a United captain, and I was happy when he was our captain.
I don't know, I agree with him leading by example, but I've never seen him being vocal and being a vocal captain and like commanding. As you say, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I personally have never really seen it. So I don't think he would have been my first choice. But I guess experience counts for something, but it's not everything. I feel like if we were to compare the two of them and remove the experience, I honestly feel Harry Maguire is a better fit.
Yeah, because the thing is, the stature thing is very important, because when Harry Maguire's on the field, I get leadership vibes from him. No matter what he does, I get leadership vibes from him. The way he moves on the ball, his stature, as I've said many times before, and just the general vibe you get off of him. I don't see that from De Gea. You know, like, passion is good, but passion's not the only thing that makes a good leader. Like, McTominay's passionate, but McTominay's not a leader yet. Like, fist pumping and getting mad when your teammates aren't doing well, that's not leadership. That's not real leadership anyways. It can be a form of leadership if you have the impact on the dressing room. It can be. Like, that's where Pogba comes in. I think Pogba has the elite mindset of a high performer, and when his team's not performing well, he can lift everybody up in the team and say, hey, we're better than this. Let's push on. I don't know if De Gea can do that. I know he reacts, and I know like every keeper gets mad at their back four when they're not doing well. But I don't know if De Gea is the man to get our team up for a Liverpool game, you know? I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it. Yeah, but sure. You know, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. It's an interesting one. I will say this: if it wasn't Harry Maguire, De Gea would be very high up on that list for me, because, you know, who else besides Pogba? Who else? You know, there's no one else.
It's insane, eh? Because when you look at Fergie's last team, there's so much experience in that team, and compared to this team, it's laughable, honestly.
It is. But anyways, moving on from the captaincy issues. So a big part of this game, going into this game, before we talk about the predicted X, actually we can move towards the predicted XI if you guys want. But Rashford being injured, how big is that in this game?
It's a yikes, huh? To be honest with you, you know, that's where that little bit in me said we can maybe nick a win somehow, as if we had my front three up fully fit and in form, Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. But now with Rashford being injured, and Oli coming out saying he didn't see him this morning and that he has been on painkiller injections and that he's willing to fight through the pain. I'm just thinking, no, I'd rather not risk Liverpool. I mean, rather not risk Rashford for the Liverpool game, if that means he'll be fit for the rest of the season. I don't want to see Rashford come play his ass off, because that's what Rashford does, and then get a bad injury, especially at a young age, and then he's out for the season. Yeah, I don't want to see that happen.
I agree. I feel like you feel like it's not really worth the risk. As big a game it is, not worth the risk. Like, it's worrying. If he doesn't play, where the goals can come from? Because James just doesn't score. Like, he's just lost that thing. I don't know what's wrong, but he's just lost that thing. I feel like if Rashford's not playing, I feel like it's very important then that Greenwood plays, because we need goals. Don't win games if you don't score goals.
I would like to respond to multiple points there, but I'll start with the Greenwood one. I kind of feel sorry for Greenwood if he does start in this game, because he'll be playing out of position again. And I predict he'll have another quiet game again, because he's not a right winger. He should be Martial's replacement, realistically, in my opinion. He shouldn't be forced to play out of position. He's in such great form. And, it's so unfortunate that a player in such great form who's scoring so many goals with the little amount of game time that he's getting is now going to miss out on an opportunity to go on a bit of a run because of the lack of squad depth. I also want to say, with regards to Oli pushing Rashford on, I think it's a pattern that we've seen with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's management. He talks about this vision of the future, and I've often said that I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be the kind of guy, off air, I think he'll be the kind of guy to lay the foundation for the next manager. But he's not showing it right now, because every decision he makes is that of a manager who's scared of his job and who doesn't care about the future, who cares about the now. It's not even the Rashford thing. It's the Maguire thing a few weeks ago. It's the fact that Lindelof is playing so much. It's the fact that Fred is playing so much. These guys don't get rested. Our players get grossly overplayed. I mean, you can't be playing a first team against Norwich and expecting them to be up for like 100% at peak level for the next few games,
Yeah, true.
Interesting times.
It's tough because he just doesn't have the players, so
yeah,
he's kind of forced to do that if he wants to keep his job.
True. So shall we look at the predicted 11?
Yep.
All right.
So before we talk about the personnel in this team and what we think is going to happen, because we're going to sound like broken records, I would like to ask you guys, what do you think and Rita, you can start with this one. What do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to specifically get absolutely right fundamentally to win this game? What do you think is going to be the thing? If United are able to get something out of the game, what do you think is going to be the specific thing that gets us that result?
I honestly think it's the play on transition. How we play on transition is going to determine what happens in this game. Because I feel like Liverpool won't set up like Arsenal and Man City. Because Arsenal and Man City is set up in such a way to counter our transition. They're going to play that game because they're Liverpool. Mm-hmm. They're at Anfield. It's what they do. So I worry about it, because you watch the game where Tottenham played Liverpool. The problem they defended very well. For 50 or 60 minutes, they were untouchable defensively. But on transition, they just couldn't do anything. They couldn't touch Liverpool's box. So I think how we set up in the midfield and how we play with our front players is going to play a big part. I feel like what he has to do is make sure the front players keep their positions. They don't drop back and defend, because it's not necessary. We need them to counter. And then Matic is going to play a very big part, because it's down to how he's going to track his personnel and how quick he'll be on transition. And if he can get that going, I think we could nick something in this game.
And Matic just a couple for Williams, and I would say Fred for Wan-Bissaka a bit,
Yeah,
definitely. But I just want to see a fight. I just want to see Matic or whoever early on in the game maybe go for Liverpool. Maybe put the Salah on the floor there, get a yellow card, or don't get sent off. Please don't get sent off. That's not what I'm saying. But go show that you're up for a fight, and you are not going to make it easy, and you're gonna try your best this game, because we were to outdog them today. I mean, on Sunday, we have to outdog them. We have to put up a fight. And I really think that, if there ever was a time our counter-attacking style of football plays and works in our favor, is this game against Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah. I think Fred will work very well because he can't play short passes, but long passes he can do. Look for the counter he can do. Matic is my worry. Matic. And if Lingard plays, I'm also worried. I think it should be Pereira.
Yeah.
I think Matic will be forced to play because we have no other option, but his game needs to be on point, and then Pereira has to play. Pereira just has to play.
What if Oli doesn't play like Mata or Greenwood, and he plays freaking Pereira and Lingard? I mean, that could be disaster.
Oh, well, it's very possible that we will see someone like Lingard come onto this game because Mata won't play the full 90 anyways.
Yeah,
he might. He did midweek, but I doubt he will, based on what Oli's done.
Yeah.
I do want to say a few things about what you just said with regards to what United have to do right. I agree with Shawnee 100%. I think United have to be extremely tenacious and hungry in this game. They need to show that like the 50-50, the things that have nothing to do with skill and talent. So transition play is a skill. But what I mean is, like, you don't need to be a world-class player to show tenacity. And I think it's 11 men against 11 men, as Mark said. You've got to show something in this game. You've got to show fight. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to try win the 50-50s. You can't have moments in the game where after you lose the ball, you're strolling back to your position, and then that gives Liverpool a space to then attack. Yeah. We've got to be on it with the press. I think that's a big part.
Yeah, because if you look at the second last Champions League final that Liverpool win, the one where they played against Real Madrid, and where, as soon as that game started, Madrid they are a fighting team, and when a person like Ramos came and took out Salah like that, just like that, something like that, it just changed the game completely. And I felt like that was a major turning point. And that's why I also love people like Ramos, they're up for these games. If they had to do something, they'll do it. They old school, they're up for it, they will put up the fight, and that's what I have to see. And I think if we can do that, maybe there's a hope that we can nick something.
Yeah, true. I
feel like I love Ramos, but I'm not an advocate for breaking legs.
No, don't break the legs, like I said. Just be up for it. Be up for it.
Yeah, no, I feel like aggression will be very important because we'll never win a football match against Liverpool. If we want to play cute, they'll win every time.
Yeah. Look, it's interesting. Back to the point about Lingard and Pereira. I've got no problems with Pereira playing because of where we're at, but Lingard, we might see him, whether he comes off the bench or he starts. I hope he doesn't start, but we might see him because if Pereira comes on to replace Mata, or Mata comes on to replace Pereira, whoever starts, there's going to be one of the front three that's going to be withdrawn, either James or Greenwood at some point in the game as well. And because Rashford might not be here, who else do you bring on in the front three positions? It's probably Lingard for Oli. It's I'm very sorry to cut you off, but I'm very worried about our backline. I trust our backline a lot, but I'm worried about the amount of games they've played and whether or not they'll be up for it. Because Lindelof in particular, he's been dropping off just a little bit in the last few games, and I don't think it's because he can't play consistently. I think he's proven that he's a good defender in a difficult time for United, but I think the fatigue and being exhausted is starting to become a factor with Lindelof specifically. Well, and Maguire, you could say, but more him. And I'm worried about it. I don't know what you guys think.
I think they'll get themselves up for this game, but then playing them so much isn't good. But the big problem is if we don't play them, you have to play Jones. So it's tough. It's really...
But that's not an issue, I don't see that as an issue. Like, you've given the guy a 5-year contract. You gave him a 5-year contract, not us as fans.
I think it just shows how broken United is, because they didn't give him a 5-year contract because he's good. They gave him a 5-year contract because they don't want to go and spend.
Exactly, but so they gave him a 5-year contract. Use him. Why are you signing someone for 5 years if you're not going to play him against Norwich, against Newcastle, against Burnley to rest your frontline centre backs? Use him. He's there.
I get that.
Yeah.
It just I don't see it happening this week, especially against Liverpool. I think Oli will go with Williams, Maguire, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. Obviously, I wasn't talking
And
about them.
yeah, I know. I mean, and in terms of forwarding of our backline, Wan-Bissaka, I feel completely secure. I trust him. I trust that he will do. We get a solid performance as always from Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Brandon Williams, he's got Maguire next to him now instead of Phil Jones compared to the City game, so that could help him a lot. And I expect Brandon Williams to being at a young age, growing up and knowing what Liverpool United's all about, coming through the youth. I expect him to go make the starting runs forward, still give everything. I expect him also to be a bit aggressive in terms of his playing style. Maguire, this is his debut in being our captain. I expect him also to be up for it. Lindelof is my only problem because, as you said, he looks like he has been slipping in the past few games. And I think what the good thing is, Lindelof as a defender on the ground is pretty good. But, in the air, when it comes to headers and stuff, that's where he gets me the most worried. So hopefully we don't see too much of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Slabhead can help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I trust our defense. I think they'll put in a decent performance in this game. I think the boys will be up for this one. They'll be up for this one.
Yeah. Look, I like I said, I trust our personnel. I worry about the fatigue and the amount of games that are being played by these guys. Especially if you want to call it a back six, because I include Matic and Fred, especially them two. Playing week in, week out when you've been out injured for months is never a good thing, especially when you're at the back end of your career. So I think with Matic, we can expect him to definitely drop off a bit. And for Fred, I think Fred is also starting to burn out a little bit. I honestly feel like he is. And he's not even playing badly. It's just, it's burnout.
Yeah, true. It's surprising. They're playing so much. It's very unfortunate. Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. But, if there was ever a time for adrenaline rush to help these guys, it's now. But, you can't get an adrenaline rush for 90 minutes. It's not sustainable.
I feel like there's a lot of injuries coming our way because now the Europa League's also coming. 32, round of 32, a lot of rounds, and we're still in every competition. I hope we don't see an injury nightmare.
Yeah. Before we get to the combined XI, I actually like to talk about that a bit. I think this weekend is a big weekend for Manchester United. I know you guys in particular didn't really think that we were going to make top four anyways. But for the people who did, for the people who were optimistic, I think it might just be done this weekend. Because if Chelsea go on and win against Newcastle, they build the points gap. If we lose to Liverpool, which is very likely if we're being honest, then the gap grows between us and top four. And the injuries are going to be a big part. We don't... Marcus Rashford's already had a bit of a niggle and he's looking like he's going to be out for God knows how long. He's not fit. Now we're going to have to play the three, Greenwood, James, and Martial. James, I think, has also suffered from a bit of burnout, and I think he will get injured because he's still very young, and I don't think he's played at this level consistently because he comes from the Championship. I think he will get injured. Who do you play? What do you do if another person gets injured in our front four?
That's the thing. There's no one, and we also. And I don't want to play Greenwood all the time. I feel like if I was manager, my biasness would kick in and play Greenwood and give him game time. But again, when we're playing Greenwood, he's not even playing in his natural position at that young age. We're playing him often on the right wing instead of the centre forward. And and when he does start games, he doesn't seem as effective as when he comes off the bench. So it is a struggle. And then in terms of squad depth, it's a nightmare. And I'm hoping that Bruno Fernandes deals come very quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, we need him. Imagine if Martial and Rashford got injured at the same time.
Exactly. Then it's over.
That's a very likely
they've been carrying
situation.
this team.
Yeah,
that's a very likely situation because we know Martial gets a little bit, he's a bit injury prone. So we know his injury is coming sooner or later.
Yeah.
And Rashford's not looking good. I honestly think Ollie's running Rashford into the ground. I really do.
Yeah, he's relying on him way too much.
He's only going to get worse. He's only going to get worse if he continues to play every game. Shouldn't get injured.
I feel like it's written for us to finish fifth. I don't think Chelsea will run away from us because I feel like they're also very inconsistent. But we just don't have the personnel to be consistent enough to go above them and stay above them. So I feel like
that's why. Yeah, I think this weekend more than any other weekend, it's done. It really is for United because we couldn't even get top four when the door was wide open. It's not going to happen when Chelsea build a gap, whether you perceive that gap to be a big one or not. As long as we need to go on a run to get top four, it's not going to happen. Especially not with Chelsea. They're not going to give up points. Well, shall we get to the combined 11 then?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Shawnee325, by the way. Don't at me.
Liverpool dominance.
It's an interesting one. 3 United players make it in, according to...
Yeah, this is just done if everyone is fit and, everyone's available.
Virgil van Dijk, I agree with. Harry Maguire, I don't know. It depends if we're going on form or if we're going... Overall, Harry Maguire gets in 100%. But I feel like, Lindelof's been the best defender for United in the last few months. I honestly do. So it's a tricky one. But I've got no problems with Harry Maguire getting in over there over a Liverpool player. Is that Robertson on the left? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, Robertson's on the left.
Robertson. He's been decent, so I think he gets over Brandon Williams. And whether or not you think Brandon Williams is good enough, the thing is he hasn't played consistently.
Yeah, maybe in 5 years it'll be a different story, but right at the moment, Robertson is there. No debate.
You've gone with Wijnaldum and Fabinho. I think Fabinho's injured actually, as well as Pogba. But I don't have too many complaints with the side. I think Rashford gets in because of the amount of goals he scored.
Yeah, and I think lots of people were debating whether or not Rashford gets in there. But I just think the Rashford 100% deserves in there, for me especially. I mean,
he's got 19 goals.
Exactly, if you have to compare to him, to Firmino, I'm like, no ways. If Rashford is there next to Salah and Mane, it'll be ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This man is basically carrying United on his back. 19 goals, all competitions, guys. Like, please take a moment to digest that if you're anti-Rashford.
Okay, let me be the devil's advocate for a bit here. It depends, really, because what are we going on again? Because with Harry Maguire, we said overall. But if we're going on form, Harry Maguire does not get in my opinion. I think it's the whole Liverpool backline.
I think he gets.
Rashford, on form, I feel like he just edges Firmino, because Firmino is amazing, guys. Firmino scores goals, he assists, he plays a big hand in midfield play. Like, he's more of an all-rounder than Rashford is. And I think overall, Firmino kills Rashford any day, in my opinion. So I would put Firmino in this lineup.
Yeah, the reason why I go with Rashford is because here's the thing. Sorry to cut you off, Shawnee, but here's the thing, right? When you talk about form versus overall, stats still come into play. Stats is not form. Like, if you score 19 goals in a season, that doesn't really necessarily mean you were in good form. What if you're a player who consistently scores that amount of goals, for example? So with the fact that Rashford has scored 19 goals for me puts him in that lineup because he's proven he can do it. I'm not just putting him in because I think he's in better form than Firmino. Like, Firmino, when was the last time Firmino scored 20 in a season? By January.
I don't remember. I've never really rated Firmino ever.
I rate him, but we're looking at the striker position, and I'd rather have a striker who scores 20 before the end of January, than one who creates a lot of chances. Yeah, personally, because that's what a striker is supposed to do, anyways. Personally,
this exact argument was had on Sky Sports. Actually, it depends what kind of striker you want for your team, really. Because if you want a person who's going to press and combine the midfield with the attacking players next to him, Firmino is a guy. And I rate Firmino because he does all that, and still assist, and still have a decent amount of goals. So that's why I rate Firmino over Rashford.
Yeah.
It's a we don't look at it systematically and, in form and all those things. Like, if you have to, on paper, pick out your best 11, I think this would be pretty close to the best 11.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean on paper, though? Are you talking in terms of ability? So, like, all the players in their prime, regardless of form and statistics?
Yeah, I mean, when you just look at a team sheet and you're like, okay, theoretically, what would be the best 11? I think this.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, purely in terms of ability. Let's ignore goals. Let's ignore just ability. Like, because we know what Pogba can do.
Let's say ability, and we know what Rashford can do. We know what.
No, I was just trying to clear it up. I agree. I agree with that.
Ability-wise, I still put Firmino, to be honest.
Yeah, ability-wise, I'd put Firmino in over Rashford because ability-wise, and I think this goes back to what Shawnee was saying, ironically enough. Rashford doesn't really do much else besides score. You know, he has so much to improve in his game. And, you know, the only reason I would put Rashford in is because he's got two guys next to him who will provide chances anyways. So you don't need three of the same type of players. That's the only, like, argument. Because if you look at this team, it's okay for Rashford to only score goals, you know, based on the players around him. But, yeah.
True.
But then now, if you look at it, you know, Pogba, we have no Pogba, and we don't have a Rashford, so it will be a bit of a yikes in this game.
It's a huge yikes. It's a huge
I think
yikes.
Pogba's the best midfielder there. I know that could be a bit controversial, but he is.
No, I still believe. I still believe
Prime Paul
Pogba is.
Pogba. I agree. Prime Paul Pogba. I agree. Now Paul Pogba, no ways. Not a chance for me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm
know.
not picking an injured player over players who play every
Okay,
week and
no.
are beaten.
In terms of
Like,
injury. In terms of injury,
No, but
yes.
that's what it is. That's what it
100%,
is.
100%.
Prime Paul
But-
Pogba.
I'm not even looking at prime Paul Pogba. I mean Paul Pogba when he was fit. The last
Yeah,
time
when
he
he's fit, I'll still take a Pogba.
it's so funny because they were saying he was having a bad season, but stats wise he was the best midfielder in the Premier League. That says a lot about Paul Pogba.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair.
I think even like if Pogba's fit and he isn't even in form, I'd put Paul Pogba in any midfield, combined midfield in the Premier League.
I wouldn't.
It's
to
so
be honest.
funny.
I'd rather have Kante, De Bruyne, and someone else. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
if I was building a team, like easily Kante gets in over Pogba for me. I know they're not the same type of player, so please don't attack me. I know, but based on the way I would set up my team, Pogba doesn't really get in at the moment. Prime Paul Pogba gets in anytime. You know, if I could get the best out of Pogba more consistently, yeah, he gets in 100%. My problem with Pogba has always been that one day he's world class, the next day he's back to being just better, you know, than what we have, and that's my problem. And I feel like in a good system, you don't need someone like Pogba.
Fair. I feel like I don't want to get too off topic, but I feel like with Pogba, he's been a victim, the biggest victim of a bad system.
Definitely, but
Definitely.
we're now giving sympathy selections.
Yeah.
But definitely.
Yeah. And you know, it's sad because when I was making the combine, you know, I wanted to give an argument for Wan-Bissaka, but I've got like really no argument. Like, you know, defensively is the best, but attacking wise, you know, Trent is freaking putting out numbers like there's no tomorrow. So I couldn't really argue with it.
What does Salah get in here? How many goals does Salah have?
Salah, it wasn't Salah that, you know, when he came, he lit it up, you know, but he's still good. Like, Salah gets in there. Like, he gets in there.
As far as I know, I think, I'm not sure if I'm confusing Mane's stats with his, but I think he might have 11 goals in the Premier League. I'm not sure.
I think Mane's
But
got
overall,
more.
at the moment, Mane's been amazing at the moment.
Mane's
At the
been-
moment,
There's
Salah
might be Mane's stats then.
has dropped off a little. To be
Yeah,
honest.
Salah has dropped off, but he's still freaking good.
But when you look at these two team sheets, in the right wing position, we're comparing him to Dan James. So, like,
Fair.
if you want to make an argument for Dan James, like, listen, just go find someone who'll take your argument seriously.
if I had to make an argument, it would have been for Greenwood. But no, I'll take that back because I just checked and he has 10 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the thing is,
on paper, our front three has more goals than Liverpool's front three. But
Yeah.
you know, like, and Ollie
in all
was
competitions.
told about this, but Ollie did say, yeah, that's true. But Liverpool do get goals from other places where we don't. So it just shows, like, you know, yeah, I get it. You know, I'm not saying in any way that we are better attacking wise, but I'm just saying, you know, our front three on paper in all competition has got more goals than Liverpool's front three.
Yeah, they've got 3 more than us in the league, though, unfortunately, than our front
The
three.
front three.
Yeah. On
I think-
paper, we have more in all competitions, but in the league alone, I think they edge us by 3.
That makes sense. They work very well together. I think another debate.
Yeah,
that
they
can be
make
had-
football look easy. These guys make football look easy.
True. I feel like another debate that can be had is Wan-Bissaka and Trent.
Yeah, that's the debate. I like you know, personally, like I said, I've always said if I had those two options, I would I might mess it up because I would want to play both of them. You know, Trent is just so amazing going forward, and Wan-Bissaka, he's just mad. No one gets really past. No one ever really gets past him that often. So somehow
like-
I would have it, but ish.
True. I feel like Trent wins because of a football bias towards attacking football and attacking players. Because you could say Trent is the exact opposite of Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. I would agree to an extent with that statement.
I would agree to an extent as well, but for me that's irrelevant because like you don't. I've always made this argument. You don't need 4 Wan-Bissakas in your back four. So as long as your centre halves are solid, Trent can get away with that easily. It all depends on how you want to play as a manager and what your combined XI looks like. If Van Dijk is next to Trent, I'm taking Trent all day. I don't need Wan-Bissaka when Van Dijk is there. Is the point I'm trying to make.
But if somehow
if Van Dijk is there, I genuinely don't. And I'd rather
if
have
Wan-Bissaka was a left back, I would definitely put him in, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fair argument, but I feel like you can make the argument either way.
Yeah, you can, but like, I mean, if you have Van Dijk, you genuinely. The nice thing about Wan-Bissaka is you can get away with having a centre half who's more adventurous if you want to play Wan-Bissaka next to him, because going forward, Wan-Bissaka doesn't offer anything, and you need something. Well, unless you don't need your back four to attack.
Because again, you look when Real Madrid was in their prime and you had Ramos and Varane, Carvajal and Marcelo could always just bolt forward and play like wingers. And
Marcelo was basically a winger, dude. He was basically a winger, and that's what I'm saying. If you have a Ramos or Varane there, you don't need someone on the level of Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. Okay, I feel in context of that XI, you take Trent.
Yeah. But, I mean, it won't hurt you to have Wan-Bissaka. Like, if you want a steel, solid defense and you don't care about the ability going forward, then Wan-Bissaka any day.
But if it was me being biased and everything, I'll play Wan-Bissaka somewhere at right back, maybe put Trent at left back, and I'll have Greenwood there instead of Salah, and that's completely biased. Okay? That's just bias.
Yeah, we don't want Liverpool players.
Get out.
You know who would have loved Wan-Bissaka?
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho. I think he would have been in awe of Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. Probably because, defensively he's perfect. Mourinho would have probably been like, it's okay, you don't need to do anything going forward. You've got the most important part of your game down.
Dude.
I'm just pulling Mourinho's leg. Anyways, score predictions.
I'll let Moloto go first.
I was about to say, I'll let you go first. Oh, it's hard. It's a hard one. I feel like this game will be won and lost in the midfield. I feel if Liverpool can bypass our bus with their midfield, then they'll win this game. I feel like if Match is on point and does what he's supposed to do, and he's good in the transition, I think we could get something out of this game. So the head is leading, obviously, to Liverpool win, but I won't listen to the head. I won't. This is Liverpool versus Man United. So
you got to go with the heart, man.
2-1 United.
2-1. Damn.
Yep.
Back us to score 2 against Liverpool. Damn.
I
was sensing 1-0 maybe.
I said 2-1 because Liverpool will score.
Yeah, Liverpool will score. But I was going to say that, I feel like this game also is very heavily dependent on who gets that first goal. Like, if Liverpool gets the first goal, I don't see us winning at all. I don't even see us getting a draw. But let's just say, theoretically, in my head, I feel like Liverpool could go smash us 4-0. But like Moloto said, I will not listen to the head. My heart will say that there's going to be some other masterclass, some other luck involved, and Greenwood and Martial are going to have the best day of their lives. And they're going to turn 2 penalties and then into Cornfield and something like that. And, call me crazy, but, if everything falls into play and my heart is right, 3-1 United. Destroy Anfield. Burn it down.
I can see that if we score first.
Like I said, if we didn't score first, game over. Done.
I can see that happening if we score first, and then if Liverpool lose their heads and give us 2 penalties. I can see that happening.
Yeah. Like, I'd love that. I'm watching this with a Liverpool fan, so I'd have him.
So, listen, if you're a Liverpool fan listening to this, we did draw to you. So, the evidence is there.
My dad has been waiting years for this game. I know he's probably going to listen to the podcast after this, and he's going to be there laughing his ass off because he knows his team is going to dump us.
Dude.
If you're a Liverpool fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, I'd like to end the show off with this. This is part of my conclusion to the show. If you're a Liverpool fan and you're listening to this and you're laughing right now and you think you're better than us, you know that one draw in the Premier League. You know that one draw. You know that one in the D column. That was us. So, this is not coming out of our asses. Like this is evidence based on what happened last year. So, listen, I will give it to you. You guys will probably win this game, but you got to listen to the heart when it's a derby. And if you're a Liverpool fan laughing at us right now, you don't know what's coming. You just don't know what's coming. But anyways, please do leave a like on the video. Please do subscribe. Hopefully United don't make me eat my words. Hopefully they get away with murder. Hopefully
could be a very depressing Sunday match reaction.
They could. Please don't forget to subscribe if you did enjoy the show. Follow us on all our socials at the Red Devils Africa. And yeah, peace.